Hey everyone. So, sorry I've been away for a while, but in short order, birthday, cold, and actually working on a movie slash documentary. I'll tell you guys more about that in detail when it comes out, but I've been busy. And to answer my previous question about from Scream about High Guardian Spice, yeah, it's bad, really, really bad. Like, I. I may or may not have an empty thing of alcohol over there. I may have to show this to you guys to prove this, but I followed the High Guardian Spice drinking game, and that was not a good call. Oh boy, I'll explain the rules when I get to that video, because while I was planning on shooting that today, it is February 23rd, and apparently Disney Plus has released their newest series, The Proud Family Reboot. Louder and Prouder. And I have words. Not many of them good. For what it's worth, I am a huge fan of the old Proud Family. I grew up with it as a kid. It was always right alongside American Dragon Jake Long, Kim Possible, the Lilo and Stitch series they made for a little bit there too. I really enjoyed watching that. Oh, and Recess. Though Recess kind of didn't really go past the prime timeline. But I enjoyed that stuff as a kid. And recently, because I knew this was coming out, I rewatched not all, but I got pretty far into the Proud Family original series. I think out of the 38 or so episodes, I'm at like episode 30, 29, something like that. I just saw the karate episode. Really like that one still to this day, especially as a martial artist. But in this realm of reboots and rehashes and reimaginings, in the same vein of Cowboy Bebop, which I promise I will get to again, I just have to rewatch the series just to make sure I remember all the details, because if I'm going to go at something viciously, I'm going to watch it multiple times, just because I don't want to be misconstrued as biased or uninformed or anything like that. No, instead, get home from work, I make dinner, I see this is on, I watch it. This is not the Proud Family. Someone out there I owe an apology to, because they call this. This is just pandering, and this is just a whole other show with the Proud Family paint slapped on it. First off the bat, Oscar and Trudy. In the original show, Oscar Proud and Trudy Proud were the mom and dad. Now, Oscar was basically a likable oaf. He was hard-headed, but at his core, he was not a jerk. He was not a bad person. Yes, he would take advantage of situations and exploit them, much like Sugar Mama's Get Up and Go bars, but at his core, he was a good human being. And he did love his kids. And it showed he would do basically anything for his kids. In fact, first episode was kind of hilarious because, and I'll get to this in a second, it's him working together with his wife, because both their other kids, the twins, the babies, need to be changed, and, Trudy does it flawlessly, and Oscar screws up because, guys can't do that. Whatever, I don't care. It was 90s or 2000s, whatever. But, they goof, they get a good laugh, and they move on. But they're still working together. They're still a team. Follow-up episodes lead to something where the teens go on strike, and when Oscar goes to talk to Penny, he approaches her like an actual father. He talks to her, that he clearly loves her. He wants her to come back inside and end this little strike she's got. But at the same time, he's not just letting her win. He's guiding her in. He's opening up and letting her take the first step in. And, it's actually a really good scene. Then we get this. Right off the bat, him and Trudy, in episode 2, they're basically doing it. Penny walks in on them in the living room with the noises and then the quick change clothing. But they have no chemistry. They have no actual romance and love. You try to see it in the flashbacks. You try to see it here. But the passion and the love they truly have for each other is gone. Yes, they would make a quip, but it wasn't derived from the hatred and the malice. And in Oscar's voice, there was nothing but condensation. What's the word? Not condensation. That's the stuff you get on the... Condescending. There we go. Condescending. Nothing but a condescending tone. I know, kind of ironic coming from me. And Trudy is just... yes, she always was the breadwinner. She was a veterinarian who ran her own clinic and actually made some good money off of it, plus she came from a wealthy background. And Oscar didn't, but he ran Proud Snacks, and he did actually pay for the house. Long story with a Halloween episode. And he did actually pay for a power bill or two. So he was contributing to the family. And Trudy did respect him for that. And he respected her and her job. And they would poke fun at each other, but they still loved each other, and they still showed affection and compassion for each other. This, though, like, I'm hard-pressed to remember a time where Oscar isn't mad, isn't yelling at somebody, or just being an outright horrible human being. Like, it's tough watching that and then going to here. And I'm griping on these two because they're the first ones you see, and it's the first... Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's not the first thing you see. The first thing you see is... Okay, I understand I am an older fellow. My youth is long past me by in the 90s and early 2000s. But, is it too much to ask of humanity as a whole? Can I stop seeing 14-year-olds twerking? Especially when they're cartoons I grew up with. I didn't need to see the Powerpuff Girls twerking in the reboot. I didn't need to see Penny Proud twerking in this. Because all of them magically have aged up. Even though I thought they were already 13 and 14 in that. And then in the Proud Family movie, I remember quickly, she was 16, but now she's 14. She's still in middle school, if I read the thing correctly. I think it's still Willie T's middle. So, she's not an adult. She's not in high school. She's a freaking teenager. And I understand puberty hits people all different ages and sizes, and it hits them in different ways. The fact that they actually do a kind of a good job about that. In this, where you see all of their bodies have changed a little bit, and kind of their old character traits have kind of been more personified. Zoe's now a lot taller. Dejanay's a bit more rotund, I believe is the politically correct word. Penny's just taller, kind of more a little lankier, and used to walking in certain things, trying to wear mom's shoes, trying to be more adult, fine. And then we get to Michael. And I'll get to the new characters in a second. The two of them that we get to meet. I guess three technically, but he doesn't really count. He's like in one scene. But in the show, the girls had a couple of male friends that would kind of come and go. There was Duke, who showed up a lot in the second season, and a little bit more past that. You would get Lee. I think his name was Lee. I want to say he was voiced by Dante Bosco. He was in like 3 or 4 episodes. And then there was Sticky. And Sticky was the primary guy friend, but he was also the techie. He was the gadget guy. He was the one who could do all the hacking, the planning. He was kind of their gadget guys would be. And he was originally voiced, if I remember this correctly, by Corbin Bleu. Now, I don't know what happened, but from Google searching and comment section searching that I did, apparently there was an issue with him and they wrote him out. And they wrote Sticky out of this, and quite easily one of the most ham-fisted, lazy, just... His family's moving. Fine, you know what? It happens. Goodbye, Sticky, we miss you. But no, he doesn't say goodbye. He doesn't say goodbye to his friends. He literally just leaves them a note, does this, and then leaves. It's ridiculous. And then he leaves a message basically making fun of Dejanay, even though, once again, going back to the series that this is technically canon with, he made peace with her. They kind of just moved past it. There's an entire episode where Sticky disses her. She gets over it, him basically. Then he realizes he does like her, kind of. And then Penny ends up dating him, and then all this other stuff, and it makes no sense. When even in the premise for the show, if you read the wiki, supposedly Sticky's got a thing for Penny, and now he was supposed to be with her, and then whatever. So he's gone. He might come back. Who knows? But he's off in Japan. But we lose Sticky for Michael. Now, Michael was a character in the original show, and he always was effeminate, I guess, for lack of better words. In the episodes he was in, he was always portrayed as weak, scrawny, not very athletic, very subservient, and he also was very expressive and creative manners. First and foremost, comes to my mind is he always was the group's choreographer or the outfit designer when Penny decided to run for student president, and he basically made her look like Nancy Pelosi. I guess? No, not even. I know she was a reference to something. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But so clearly there's already a preset thing that he is into non-traditional gender norms in terms of guys stuff, guys like footballs, monster trucks, and all that stuff, and girls like princess and blah blah blah. Even though honestly, that's kind of gone away a long time ago. I can tell you specifically back in middle school, we had girls talking about Dragon Ball Z, and there was a couple of guys talking about some was it Gem or it was something like that. It was like one of those girl cartoon shows. I mean, I watched She-Ra, but not that much. But anyway, back to current trend, Michael. Don't like what they did with him. So I understand the show's creator kinda hinted that they wanted him to be non-gender binary, I guess technically, but they couldn't back then. I call bull on that, but regardless, it's Wait a second, guys. Got a little there we go. I understand they couldn't do that back then in the early 2000s. There's a lot that goes on, but you take this character, and yes, he was flamboyant. Yes, he was effeminate. But at the same time, he wasn't this over the top with it. And it doesn't help that we've only gotten really one episode with him when he's kind of a secondary character piece with this. And honestly, it seems like a one-dimensional stereotype. Like, if you would have... Okay, without even thinking, without showing you a picture, if I described this to you, effeminate, possibly, okay, he's basically gay. He friggin' dances with a guy and whatnot and seems to hint on the fact that he likes guys. And that he's very flamboyant. You could probably get a picture in your head and you're pretty close to what he looks like. It's just, the Proud Family show back in the day didn't really... I mean, it addressed a lot of issues, a lot of them that, like girls being able to play football, or deal with the whole concept of racism when they go back and, well, when Penny gets a conk on the head and there's a whole Wizard of Oz back in time travel thing. But, and they tackle some other stuff too, like losing a pet, letting fame go to your head, which we'll get to that with episode 2. And it's really distracting looking at this and then seeing it just so over the top and just lacking the groundedness. This cartoon really feels like a cartoon. Like, there's talking animals now, and I know technically in the first you had the tiger talking with Penny in season 1, in episode 4 or something, but that was like telepathic, and it was clearly hinted that's not a common thing. But now you got a freaking talking panda who plays a guitar in a zoo that they're trying to break out because of the other 2 new characters. I'll get to them in a sec, I promise. And they're over the top, and then, like, the only character who's consistent is Sugar Mama and Bobby. And Poppy. Poppy's still Poppy, except he's getting away with a lot more stuff than I thought he'd be able to say. I never thought I would say or see in a Disney Channel show for kids, thank God for tequila. Or thank goodness for tequila. Like, basically, Poppy drinks to be around Sugar Mama. That's not a healthy relationship, but it fits with Poppy's character. And Bobby is still Bobby. I mean, that you can't really... I mean, unfortunately, the one scene we see him in, he tricks out Trudy's veterinary mobile, and that looks really cool, because he's able to trick out that stuff like his car. But then he gets launched 1,000 feet in the air and hits a power line and slings back like a slingshot. This wasn't in the show. You had like maybe a few moments of break, but you could just... It didn't feel right when it happened. And it felt like it was one of those out of place, clearly for a sight gag thing that you just move on past. In this world, he gets launched through a wall, and you get the outline of him fine, but then it stays there for a while. Then you get La Cienega, whose puberty hits her like a ton of bricks, and she has more facial hair than me. And, yeah, she has her face ripped off and has a full conversation. I mean, happened in the original, I know, but it was not played like a common thing. It was played like a weird thing. So, it's tough for me to see what it was and then see where it's at, and the two new characters. What are they? No, seriously, I want to know, what are they? First off, I don't even know this guy's name. I think it's like KGM or something like that, or Ken. I don't K something. But he's basically, when Sticky moved out, this new family moved in. Spoiler alert, they're interracial gay lovers. Don't think I'm being hyperbolic or mean when I say that's literally in the freaking wiki. And honestly, from when we see the dad, and his name is Barry, he seems kind of cool. He kind of looks like the one big muscular guy who always beats up Oscar, but whatever. KGM is I'm assuming adopted. I don't know yet. Maybe he married in a step, but whatever. So KGM's whole gimmick is he loves video games, and he's always on like some technology, and he's got these VR goggles, and he's cut off from the world. He just doesn't really seem to care. And I guess it's supposed to be like a replacement for Sticky, but Sticky was more than just the gadgets. I know I said that earlier, but he had a really good arc when it came to, or a good episode technically, not really so much of an arc, when it came to his parents getting a divorce, and they were planning on getting a divorce. I think they did technically get divorced, but no, I think actually did they get back together? Because there was that whole therapy episode, but yeah. Either way, he was going through a lot. He joined the gang called the Altos, and basically realized who family is, no matter what. You can always talk to people. Really good. It was just more than the technology. KGM has nothing except the technology. Like, that's all we see him with. And fine, but you're bringing in this new character, do something with him. Don't just have him be a background character, especially when you took out a pre-established, reoccurring character. And then we get the new girl, Maya. I think that's her name, if I remember it correctly. She is... I don't know if we're supposed to agree with her. I don't know if we're supposed to disagree with her. I don't know if she's supposed to be a good person or a bad person. This show is so... And I know they're supposed to ask kind of the thing, everyone's different, but the fact is, she is just a horrible person. The first episode is basically everyone hits puberty, they move in, meet new people. It's a getting to know everybody episode. And literally all Penny does is just try to be her friend, and Maya just treats her like garbage and calls her out for a lot of things that I'm like, who are you to say that? Like, maybe there's something went on in your background we don't know about, and maybe it'll all make sense later, but calling somebody egotistical, self-centered, like all these other, like, you're self-centered, you're shallow, you're like, are you talking to Penny or yourself? And I know it's supposed to be the big thing here, is that she actually is against what she preaches. She tries to be this. She's trying to be this activist, I guess. They somewhat hint at that. Like in the books she's reading, there's Race for Technology, yes, and March, book 1. So clearly she's trying to paint her as an activist, or even said in her wiki bio she's supposed to be an activist of some sort. But her activism basically is telling everybody they suck. Or Penny specifically, I guess, and her friends and the clique and everything. And then trying to liberate a panda from a zoo, even when the panda says he didn't want to leave because the panda could talk in the first episode. All of a sudden, she still wants to and doesn't... I guess she can't fathom that she might be wrong. Maybe that's something that she grows with. But, yeah. That was... Yeah. And then, episode 2, she's now friends with them? Like, in the end of the first episode, before Penny talks with Oscar, Penny calls her out on it, and, like, just chews her out, basically, like, you know, you think we're all this, and you know what, maybe we are. But who are you to say that we're this? You're the one who's acting shallow. You're the one who's acting blah, blah, blah. Really good scene, I'll say that. It really felt like it fit in the old Pratt Family episodes. But they don't make up. They don't make amends. There's no, sorry, like, hey, listen, I understand, let's try to work through this together. The next episode 2, their friend, she's part of the clique, I guess? Like, she's hanging out with Dejanay and La Cienega and Zoe and Michael, like they were all friends already. Congratulations, she officially replaced Sticky. And I guess Michael also kind of did too, because Michael was never that much of a predominant character. But the fact is, you missed a whole episode where they're supposed to make that connection. It worked in the original because when La Cienega shows up, she was already friends with Dejanay from a kid. So when she and Penny had that little clash and falling out and them not being on the best of terms, it would still make sense that they would be together. Also, the fact that they're next door neighbors kind of makes it a little tough, and also when their dads would become good friends. So there's a reason for La Cienega to be around, but Maya, she's far away. She clearly doesn't like these people. The parents don't know each other. What? And after all this superficial stuff, she wants to go see this guy named Makeup Boy because he's a influencer of makeup, I guess. And that was episode 2, all about influencing. That's one of the most painful things I've ever watched, and it really shows just how wrong they've gotten Oscar at this point, because literally he's selling out his daughter basically, and he's like blackmailing and doing some shady stuff, and that's not Oscar. Even when he did something that was, quote, shady, like in the Thingy episode, long stories like a Barney ripoff, he went behind people's backs because he wanted to surprise his kids and his wife, specifically his wife, with her roommate best friend who got her and Oscar together. Like, good legitimate surprise. He was trying to be a good human being and help out his family. This, nope. Just taking money from the wizard and he puts it in the bank, and now the Wizard Kelly, who's like the big, supposed to be like Michael Jordan and LeBron James if you merge them together and inflate the ego by 100, which I know is surprising given LeBron James recently, but just roll with it. And now he's trying to run for mayor, and now he's freezing people's assets, which I'm pretty sure is illegal unless you're in another country, possibly north of us, with a gentleman who may or may not have worn the skin color of another person. I don't want to get banned on YouTube. But anyway, yeah, so I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if Wiz is going to be a good guy, a non-issue guy, because he always was present in the other episodes in some manner. I mean, it's only the first 2 episodes. Maybe it'll get better. I mean, I'll say this. It's still better than High Guardian Spice. That's because the bar is so freaking low, I can't hit it because I go into my downstairs neighbor. But, I mean, you're going to watch it if you want. If you were a fan of the Pratt Family at all, you're going to look up the clips or see something. And honestly, it's not the same, guys. It really isn't. And to the people who've never seen the Proud Family, I do want to know your opinion on the show, because I want to know what it's like going in fresh, not knowing these characters, but just horrible representation of the legacy characters, except for, once again, Sugar Mama, Poppy, and Bobby. The new characters basically aren't that existent or that good. The stories are paper thin and even rehashes. Even that freaking episode 2, the social influencer thing. It already happened when Penny became a singing idol, basically, and they just changed it around a little bit to make her a social influencer and really mess up the credo of the whole episode, because it ends with her basically canceling everybody because she has the influence to do that, and then somebody cancels her. That's not how you would get this message across that it's a bad thing. How about, and there was a really good scene after that where she meets the person she canceled, who used to be this big influencer, Makeup Boy, and he's happy that he's no longer has to be that persona. He no longer has to be in the limelight, so he can get back to doing what he loves. And, you know, he warns her to be careful to not let that go to your head. That would have been good, and then Penny could do a video about her apologizing and whatnot and everything, and let it go, instead of just having this mean-spiritedness, which she earned. I'm not denying that she earned this from Maya and KGM. So, because the other characters who were her friends couldn't deal with this, so clearly they have to do some behind-the-back shady stuff just to prove a point. And then Oscar, I mean, if Oscar doesn't happen to do anything, you know, illegal, this doesn't happen, and Wizard does it legal too, but I guess he's got money, so it doesn't matter. I could rant about this for another hour, in all honesty, but it'd just be the same points. I mean, if you could tell, I was a huge fan of the show back in the day, and it just hurts me to see where it happened to it. I'm not going to call it the massive betrayal of character and plot that Cowboy Bebop is. I'm not going to call it the abomination that is High Guardian Spice. Oh, your time is coming, by the way, once I get this offloaded. So, yeah, guys, I mean, I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad I got material. I'm glad the passion for just ripping this stuff apart. But, yeah, so comment below in the section. Did you watch the new Proud Family series? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you going to watch episode 3? Because I know I will, because it's only 8 episodes, so why not make this a series? Let me continue my suffering. Anyway, y'all, until next time, with hopefully either the next Proud Family episode, High Guardian Spice, or in case any crazy movie shows up like The Batman, and I can get an early screening for that one, but Warner Bros. Hasn't contacted me yet. But anyway, y'all, as always, hope you like the new setup here. It's a lot comfier than my other one. Enjoy the light switch that doesn't work. Anyway, y'all, later.